Um, so very good afternoon to all the panelists and participants who has joined. Very warm welcome to Mr. Rajesh Meena, who's one of the keynote speakers for the day, and Dr. Kohli and Rao, who's going to be the moderator for the session. For the information of all the participants, this is the second episode of AgFinTech series that we started in April. The first episode was on digital lending, and the second episode, the focus is on digitizing crop insurance. And we are extremely thankful to our partner, Cropin, the entire team, Krishna, Kunal, Jyoti, and Dhruv, who have worked very hard with us in putting together this episode. So many thanks to the Cropin team. The next episode will be on 7th of July. That's on tech-enabled lending. That's also in partnership. That's in partnership with Dwara e-registry. At ThinkAg, we are very, keen to develop AgFinTech as a thesis, and you will see a lot of activity throughout the year. We are working with multiple banks, financial institutions, NBFCs, and of course startups in building a strong ecosystem in AgFinTech. And this whole AgFinTech series is an endeavor in that direction. So of course, if you look at today's topic, we all know that digitization of the whole crop insurance and agri insurance in general is the need of the hour. And the technology and the new age innovation that we see has a key role to play, whether it's improving the efficiency and the penetration of Pradhan Mantri Fasal Bima Yojana, or whether it's coming up with new products related to parametric insurance or micro insurance or weather related insurance. I think that all is possible with the kind of tools that we have on hand, the kind of data that we get at the farm level, at the hyper-local level, using satellite imagery, drones, weather stations, sensors, IoT devices. I think that all is very helpful in building this innovation ecosystem, which probably wasn't there maybe a decade ago. So we believe that we have a lot of innovations in the ecosystem. What we need to do more is essentially bringing various partners together, which is reinsurance companies, insurance companies, startups, and policymakers. And that's essentially the idea behind convening this AgClinic today, to get all the stakeholders together and and discuss some of the opportunities that we have on designing new products, on how to distribute these insurance products to smallholder farmers. If you look at the urban insurance market, we have seen likes of Policy Bazaar, Echo, Digit, Discovery, so many startups who have come to cater to the needs of the market in urban areas. But unfortunately, in rural markets, we still don't see too many startups. So the whole idea is to deepen the startup ecosystem in the agri insurance space, and that's where we continue to work with all of you to build that ecosystem. With that, I'll pause and I'll introduce Mr. Rajesh Meena, who's one of the keynote speakers. Dr. Bhutani will join in some time. Maybe we can get started with Mr. Meena, and I'll just give a brief introduction of him. Mr. Meena is Registrar Cooperative Societies, Cooperative Department at Government of Bihar. He's a native of Jaipur, Rajasthan, and was a part of the batch of IES in the year 2012 cadre. He graduated from esteemed engineering college, NIT Allahabad, with a degree in BTech. He has previously worked as SDM for Madhubani, then as DDC in West Champaran. Mr. Meena also has been the MD of Bihar Rajya Jal Parishad and has played a pivotal role in the city of Munger as a district magistrate. So welcome, Mr. Meena, and we look forward to hear from you.
Thank you so much, Hemendraji. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Okay, thank you so much. Actually, I was expecting Bhutani sir. I wanted to hear him, but since he has not yet joined, let us proceed. My heartiest greetings to all the panelists as well as all the listeners here. As Hemendra ji has introduced, I am a 2012 batch IS officer and I have been working in different capacities throughout the state of Bihar. I joined this cooperatives department a few months ago, last year itself. Then I'm looking after various schemes that are being implemented with this department. So when we talk about this agri-finance and crop insurance business, uh, I will share my experience of what I have seen in Bihar, because there's a flagship scheme, Pradhan Mantri Fasal Bima Yojana, which different states are using this scheme. But there are very few states like Bihar who are using different kind of schemes in their own state. We had the Pradhan Mantri Fasal Bima Yojana for a few years from 2015 to 2017. But there were some issues with that. So ultimately, we moved on from that scheme because of maybe peculiarities of Bihar state. So when we do some kind of schemes like insurance scheme, particularly when the small farmers are involved, we need to look at the peculiarities or such kind of things which are prevalent in that particular state. So in our state of Bihar, there were various issues with this Pradhan Mantri Fasal Bima Yojana, because there are many panelists among here, different company persons are here, very highly placed officers are here. So I would like to mention those things, that the amount of premium that we were giving, the state of Bihar was giving, the central government was paying, and then the farmers were also paying, and what we were getting in and compensation to that, it was not maybe commensurate. So that was one point, around 721 crores were distributed to 3.29 lakh farmers, whereas the total amount of premium was 1199 crores. So the equations are very different. You are all experts in this field, but when the small farmers don't get adequate compensation, or when their compensation is delayed by significant amount of time, then it basically defeats the purpose of any scheme. So we have a large number of farmers in Bihar, and when we switch to the different scheme, our coverage of this scheme has improved significantly. Now we are paying more than 4 lakh farmers, 4.5 lakh farmers, about 500 crores in compensation. So we right now we have this Bihar Rajya Fasal Sahayata Yojana, Bihar State Crop Assistance Scheme, in place of Pradhan Mantri Fasal Bima Yojana. So this basically the same scheme with a different design. And also Bihar, there's one peculiarity that we have small land holdings. There's a large number of farmers, and the land holding of farmers in Bihar is very small. And we have large number of sharecroppers, and then these sharecroppers were not being able to get proper advantage in the insurance scheme. So there were many such kind of things which forced state of Bihar to look for some alternative scheme. Maybe we wanted to develop a tailor-made scheme, particularly to suit for the demands, for the needs of this state. So we moved to this Bihar State Crop Assistance Scheme. And when we talk about this scheme, it is a completely technological-driven scheme, end-to-end. We use technology there. There's no person-to-person contact. The farmers have to apply online on an online portal. Then different parts of the scheme, they're all done technologically. The salient features of this scheme is that there's a crop yield calculation takes place based on the crop cutting experiments, and then there's an indemnity level about 70%. And based on this indemnity level and crop yields, we calculate the damage to the crops, or the whatever the production it is. So if the damage or the production is less than 20%, so the compensation paid is 7,500 rupees per hectare for a maximum of 2 hectares. And if the damage or loss in the production is more than 30%, then the compensation amount is rupees 10,000 per hectare for a maximum of about 2 hectares, which becomes about 20,000 rupees. So this is the overall scenario. But when we talk about the implementation process, it is, as I've told you, it is a completely digital. There are different steps into this scheme, like registration of the farmers. It is online. It is done online through a web portal. Then there's field inspection of the applications. This is also done online through a web-based application. Then validation of data takes place, and if there are any problem in the data, if there is some error, then red flags are generated, and then we try to sanitize that data. The removal of errors take place, and a final list of beneficiaries as drawn, and then the online advice is generated. We pay or through direct benefit transfer scheme, and then this payment is Aadhaar enabled payment. So this is completely, the farmers don't have to go to offices, farmers don't have to talk to any particular department officers. This is a completely web-based, portal-based system. And there is a timeline for all, for both the schemes, be it a Kharif season or be it Rabi season. There's a timeline for this scheme, and we follow that timeline for different aspects, as I've already told you, be it registration, be it field verification, be it validation, or be it payment. We follow a timeline for both the crops, Rabi crop as well as Kharif crop. And in this way, we try our best to give the benefit of schemes to the farmer in a proper time. While getting the registration or applications, we try to take the Aadhaar details, land possession certificates, and bank details, self-declarations from the farmer, so that the data is as good as possible. So this is basically about the scheme that we have in our state in lieu of Pradhan Mantri Fasal Bima Yojana. And this scheme got a special recognition by the government of India also. We won e-governance award from government of India for this scheme. And many other states have also queried to us. They have also been in touch with us for the detailing of this scheme. So what I want to suggest is that basically this insurance schemes are very important. The need of the demand is there. So we have to have need-based insurance schemes for the farmers, in which all the stakeholders should be taken care of. The delays in the payment of farmers should be minimized. There may be different constraints from the insurance companies, but ultimately the farmers are the beneficiaries. So we have to keep this frame in our mind. Both government of India as well as all the state governments, they are working for this. Different states, as I've already told you, they may have a different kind of uniqueness, features. So there may be a need to change the schemes accordingly. But ultimately, the purpose is to help the farmers. This also helps in financial inclusion and the farmers' prosperity. So we are all working in this direction. My sincere request to all the companies is that we should look at this angle, and then with the more and more digitization we can do, the best use of technology we can use. This can include transparency in our system, efficiency in the system, as well as speed. It can speed up the process. So this was my inputs. I would like to hear from you all, so that because there's so much learning into this, I would like to hand over to Hemendraji, and we'd like to hear from you. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Mr. Meena. A very good perspective and a comprehensive perspective from the state of Bihar. And clearly, digitization has a huge role to play in driving the financial inclusion, and clearly insurance is one of those ways. And I'm sure all the players who are participating in this AgClinic have a lot to contribute. So with that, maybe we can move to the panel discussion as we still await Dr. Bhutani to come. And let me start with introducing the moderator for the panel, Mr. Kolian Rao. Mr. Rao is specializing in general insurance for over 34 years, out of which almost 32 years were in agriculture insurance. He worked in various capacities with General Insurance Corporation of India and Agricultural Insurance Company of India, both at operational level and corporate level. Mr. Rao is a doctorate in agricultural economics with thesis on parametric insurance. And currently he's working with IRICBS as a senior advisor. Mr. Rao, over to you to introduce other panelists and moderate the discussion.
Thank you so much, Hemendra, for your generous introduction. Could you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Okay, thank you so much. So I'm just wondering, because maybe I think a lot of participants have joined this webinar to hear Dr. Bhutani, right? So, I mean, for example, I'm just wondering, can we wait, in case he's joining? There is a news from his office that he's joining. Probably we can wait for a few more minutes and hear him, and then we can go into the group discussion without interruption. What do you propose?
Mr. Rao, we can get started and we'll pause as soon as we'll pause the panel whenever he joins. So maybe we can get started in the interest of time.
Okay, that's all right, Hemendra. So, the Prime Minister, the Pradhan Mantri Fasal Bima Yojana, the flagship insurance scheme of the government of India. As we know, it's evolved over 40 years. The first yield index-based insurance product as a pilot started in 1979. And the pilot got converted into comprehensive crop insurance scheme in 1985, National Agriculture Insurance Scheme in 1999. Then we had a few more variants in between. And finally, of course, we also had modified National Agriculture Insurance Scheme. We had NCIP, National Crop Insurance Program. Then finally, in 2016, we had the Pradhan Mantri Fasal Bima Yojana. I have been associated with crop insurance since 1987, from the days of the CCIS. So I'm pretty much passionate about these index insurance products, and I'm proud of the product we have in India. I fortunately had the opportunity of visiting countries and studying the crop insurance products which are being administered in different countries. But given the background we have, given the context, the Indian context, where we have a large number of small size farm holdings, and probably we didn't have the yield data at the individual farm level, and there are various other complexities. So probably the index insurance probably is the best bet for us, and that's how we started. And the credit for introducing the index insurance in India, of course, goes to Professor V.M. Dandekar, who's considered the father of crop insurance in India. I had to take his name because I had a few interactions with him when he was there, and a very enlightened personality who played an important role. So talking about the PMFBY, it's in a way world's largest crop insurance program. Although we call it an index insurance primarily, but if you look at the various features, you can see it works as an index insurance for widespread calamities and works as an indemnity insurance for localized calamities. So it's a unique combination of index plus insurance where depending upon the requirement, it works as an index as well as an indemnity insurance. And I didn't come across any other product which is in terms of the scope or the features so varied and so comprehensive that meets requirements of most farmers. And also PMFBY is also unique in the sense that it's a multi-stakeholder. Typically in insurance, we have insurance company, the insured party, and if there is a subsidy, there's a government and reinsurance. But here is a program, which has been designed to be multi-agency from the beginning in 1979, 1985, that the strengths of the existing machinery, existing government setup could be made use of for kind of easy and cost-saving method of distributing the product and getting the claims amount distributed. So we have the state government playing very important role, different departments of the state government, and most importantly, the banking institutions. This being linked to the credit, the banking institutions play a very important role. Now, probably since PMFBY, we're talking about the CSE and other modes of enrollment, but prior to that, primarily, the enrollment is to be done by the banking institutions. So they played a very important role in the product delivery and also as well as creating the compensation which is being released as part of the insurance compensation. And that way it is a unique and a very convenient user friendly product distribution that reduce the expenses. Typically in other lines of insurance, I'm sure most of you are aware, the cost of marketing, the cost of distribution is the very important, plays a significant part of the expenses, admin expenses. It could be as high as maybe a 12-15%. Here is a program through banking network and CSC and others. So we are able to basically reduce very significantly the cost of distribution. So this is another beauty of this product. And also it's a dynamic. Maybe one way probably some people might look at is that, okay, PMFA has been introduced, but year after year we are seeing some modifications. But I see this as a very positive move. Every time the government hits upon some new idea, new feedback comes, the government of India is quickly, trying to bring that into the operational modalities. So basically, these operational guidelines have been updated from time to time to keep the product very relevant for the farmers and the other stakeholders. So that way it's a very dynamic product. And also this product encourages extensive use of technology. Well, we're going to talk about that in a while from now under digitalization of crop insurance and the use of innovative technologies. But the fact is, we have already seen some facets of technology being used in the last 5 years. Probably some are in the pipeline, and probably we're going to see some in the next 5 to 10 years time frame. So if you look at the numbers, the sheer numbers, I suppose the PMFY insures over 50 million farmers every year. And enrollment is a huge process. Prior to PMFBY, the enrollment is to be done by the banks, and the insurance company is to receive only the summary of the enrollment in terms of the number of farmers insured, the total hectares insured, or the total sum insured. But now, since introduction of PMFBY, we have the granular details of the farmers. I suppose as many as 50 different fields of the farmer are being captured while enrollment happens, and over 50 million farmers annually, being enrolled under the product. It's a huge database, and that's being done through over 170,000 bank branches, the primary agriculture cooperative societies, and the common service centers. And another beauty of this product is the DBT. Prior to PMFBY, the claim amount used to be sent to the bank as a lump sum amount payable to various farmers covered by the bank branch. And the bank branch used to, depending on the crop and the sum insured of each farmer, they used to distribute that money and credit the account to the farmers. That used to take a month or two. But here is a product actually as part of the financial inclusion. The government of India wisely, sort of put in place the DBT where the claim amount is directly credited into the account of the farmers. So this is also another beauty of this important product. So this product is largely kind of seamless integration of the various interests of the stakeholders, the primary being the farmers. So this is a product we want to basically debate on the use of technology. I took some time to actually talk about the product because I like this product very much, and I think it's a very important product. So we are talking about the technology. Technology has become a very important, and actually in the last 1 year of pandemic, we discovered that it's even more important. Actually, we now probably doing almost literally everything sitting from home. So thanks to the technology, the network, and various kind of innovations we have seen. Probably webinar. This webinar is part of that. Probably going forward, maybe we will have far fewer physical conferences, and probably we'll have more of these webinars, so that we can save cost, yet we can get the same outcome and same benefit out of these the webinars. So technology is any field, of course, is an important driver of the businesses, bring in efficiencies, improve timelines. So in case of PMFBY, I assure every one of you believe that the technology should lead to better products, should lead to transparency on product process, should lead to ease in enrollment of farmers, should lead to reduction in premium rates in terms of universalization of insurance. As more and more farmers join the program, I'm sure the effect of adverse selection get neutralized. That should lead to reduction in the premium rates, near real-time communication among the stakeholders, and that should lead to interconnected and integrated databases for quick process analysis, and I suppose it should lead to automated claim calculation processing for expeditious settlement of the claims. Technology should lead to improve the operational efficiency and improve the entire farmer's experience with the product. And as you know, world over, the crop insurance is well supported by the governments. And India, of course, is a prime example of that, where nearly 85 to 90% of the cost of the risk premium is being paid by the government of India and participating states, because they see insurance as an important risk mitigation tool and a safety net for the farmers. So the government is heavily invested into the program. So therefore, whatever technologies we talk about, that should lead to a value for the government funds which are being invested in the program. So that's how I think primarily we see technology when it comes to PMFUI. And it's my pleasure to be part of this webinar, and thanks to Cropin and other organizers for contacting me and sort of asking me to moderate this panel. It's my pleasure. I have a panel of 6 very well-known and highly qualified, experienced insurance professionals. Honestly, I believe they don't need interaction because they're so well-known. Most of them are in the market for more than 10 years. And some of them, for example, Mr. Bhushan Mahapatra has been there for more than 35 years. But nevertheless, there could be some participants who probably may not be knowing every panelist. So for the benefit of these participants, I'm going to briefly introduce the panel, begin with Bhushan Mahapatra ji. He's from State Bank of India. He came into State Bank of India General Insurance Company in the year 2014 as a chief operating officer, and in 2016 has been appointed as managing director and CEO. He continued in that position till July 2020. So during that 4 or 5 year period, he led SBI General with distinction and transformed SBI General into one of the profitable and sustainable organizations. He was closely connected with crop insurance, had the benefit of interacting with him on a number of occasions, discussing about crop insurance. Presently, he is the president of strategic investments and head of open markets within SBI General Insurance. Thank you, sir, for joining this as a panelist. Then let me talk about other panelists. Apurva Thatia. Is there in the industry for more than 15 years. He was there with AIC initially, then he went to ICICI Lombard. Then he's been there with the Reliance General Insurance Company for a while. He is head of rural crop health and writing. He played an important role within Reliance General Insurance Company as well as within the industry in making this kind of a very technology savvy product, in improving the underwriting practices, as well as contributing to the larger industry and a larger stakeholding within the product. Then we have Ajar Mishra, is a senior vice president for rural and agriculture business within HDFC Ergo. He had over 12 years experience. All last 12 years he has been with agriculture insurance and rural insurance. He's pretty much involved in underwriting, product development, and claims management. So he's again, a very important pillar of this program here. Then we have Ashish Agarwal. Ashish again has close to 20 years of professional service. He's now representing Bajaj Allianz General Insurance Company. He's a president and head of agribusiness. He had the opportunity of working with the International Water Management Institute, ICS Lombard, HDFC before he joined Bajaj General Insurance Company. Then we have Mangesh Patankar. He represents a reinsurance company, Swiss Re, the world's leading reinsurance company. He's been associated with reinsurance and is part of Swiss Re for over 10 years. Prior to joining Swiss Re, he worked with ILO in the microinsurance facility. He worked in Philippines in designing index insurance solutions for those places in Asia. Then we have Kunal Prasad. I can't say that I know him very much, but as part of this webinar, I came to know. I understand Kunal Prasad, he's a co-founder of Cropin and a chief operating officer, has over more than 12 years experience. And he played an important role within Cropin in reaching 4 million farmers from across over 55 countries. So it's very important to have a tech firm, which is part of this discussion webinar, who have been working with governments, who have been working with various other entities, not just in India, but in other countries, to have a kind of cross-country comparison of how these technologies have been working. So Kunal, you're welcome, and thanks for being part of this webinar. So now I think I've taken almost 10, 12 minutes talking about webinar, the interactions. Now I think let me now move into the topic which we've all been waiting for. I would propose, given that we have 6 panelists and this subject is a vast subject, probably we can discuss this for maybe half a day. You can take any small topic within technology in agriculture insurance. We can still talk and debate about this for maybe hours together. But nevertheless, we have a time constraint. We've been given a time of 45 to 50 minutes, and there is a Q&A after that. So given this in mind, I propose that we do roughly 3 or 4 rounds, subject to availability of the time. And in the first round, I propose we talk about the policy-related issues within digitalization and the use of technology in PM, and crop insurance. And the second round, probably we will take the concurrent issues related to the specific areas where the technologies are being used, what the experience has been, and what to look forward to. And third one, of course, we can look at some of the products or pilots. Maybe I'm sure the insurance companies have been doing some pilots. They have their own innovations. Probably there might be 1 or 2 case studies, which I'm sure the panelists would like to present from their point of view. And then, of course, if time permits, then we will certainly go into some of the other more relevant aspects of the use of technology in PMFY. So let me start with taking what we call the policy part of the technology use. See, as I said at the beginning of my conversation, that is a multi-agency, a multi-stakeholder concept. Like the government of India plays a very important role. They are the policymakers, they are the facilitators, they are the enablers. But then there are roles expected from different other agencies. Like states have to play a very important role. Insurance companies have to play a very important role, and banks and other enrolling agencies, CSC, have to play an important role, and of course there's a role for reinsurers in this. So there's a huge amount of data we are talking about here. For example, on the enrollment, if you have enrolling more than 50 million farmers. So that's a huge amount of data, which is basically residing somewhere in the system. So given the importance of the multi-stakeholders, given the importance of a large amount of the data we are dealing with, and given the importance of this data, not only for the current season, but for years to come, as a kind of as a platform to review the programs and reform the programs. So I would like to take forward this policy point of view. So let me start with Apurva. Maybe I would actually ask your initial comments, Apurva, Ashish, and Ajar. So, for example, as I said, we have a multi-agency setup. So unless we have a common goals, unless we see all the stakeholders see this as a single seamlessly integrated product, unless the agencies understand that this is one product they are contributing to, and unless they contribute, and unless they see their role properly, there's going to be something we're going to miss out from this, and the outcomes we expect from the program. So from that point of view, how do you think that the interests are aligned to make sure that we have the best out of the program, we deliver the best to the farmers, and what kind of role the technology can play in aligning the interest of various stakeholders? Yeah, Apurva, you can start.
Yeah. So, sir, first of all, I would definitely thank Government of India and all the state governments who have been participating in the PMFAY. Secondly, I'll thank AG Group, Think AG Group, who has actually convened this conference after a long gap of this pandemic situations and those all things. So it's an actually opportunity to discuss on the crop insurance schemes, which I think have been delayed from a long period. From the policy point of view, I think Government of India has always been very proactive to think on how new initiatives can be taken up and how the scheme could be made in such a manner that it is sustainable for a long period. So there was a demand from many of the insurance companies, state governments, that year on year the premium rates get changed, the TYs get changed. So long-term tenders can be introduced. Government of India introduced it with the three procedures of calculation of the TY. So I think from the policy point of view, Government of India has always tried to innovate and bring few new options and I would say consolidate all the state government requirements and bring a common point where they can bring a framework of a policy and try to accommodate each and every state.
Yeah. Thank you, Apurva, for your quick comment. I think we all believe that Government of India is playing a very important role, not just providing the budgets, but basically bringing all the stakeholders together and trying to find out if there are some pitfalls or there are some irritants. So timely intervention from Government of India have been playing a very important role in ensuring that this program runs smoothly and the benefits of insurance actually reach the farmers. So Ashish, what's your view, in aligning the interests? To what extent we are using the technology in aligning the interests of various stakeholders?
Thank you, Dr. Rao, and thank you, Cropin team, for organizing this conference, webinar, in fact, and inviting me to have my views on this digitization of crop insurance. I would say, so Dr. Rao, that already you have covered many aspects of crop insurance, how this scheme has evolved, and what kind of changes have happened so far, and how the insurance company's role is there, and how the state governments are playing their role. All those things are kind of being done very systematically, and obviously the Government of India is playing to make sure that interest of all the stakeholders are getting captured properly. The best thing, I've never seen any program in which this kind of the kind of modification and the kind of interest which government takes, and they do revision in the guidelines, because that is if you see in the last 5 years, third reason has been done in the entire scheme, and that is basically to benefit the farmers. So in terms of digitization, if you would see, because as you mentioned rightly, that this scheme is now has reached to the farmer directly. Because earlier, if you see, we used to get the premium from the bank, and then we used to pay the claim early when the farmers were not aware, or maybe the bankers were not very sure that how much claim has to be paid to which farmer, and it used to take a lot of time. But now the best thing is, once the data is available, once the subsidy is there, the claim is getting in the farmer account directly, and that too within just 7 to 10 days time. And that is a kind of the best thing which government can do. And it has benefited the farmer a lot. And that is the reason, if you see in the last 5 years, the farmers coming with their own. Like earlier, it was mainly loany farmer-based scheme. Means it used to happen mainly from the banks. But now, if I remember the data correctly, more than 35% farmers are non-loany now, in which all the other stakeholders like bankers, CSCs, and also now the farmers may get enrolled directly through the NCIP portal. So a lot of digitization has happened, and it is helping a lot. The only thing is that I think state government should kind of come forward, and this should give some time to the government of India and implement it with full confidence, because ultimately the idea is to make it a universal scheme, and all the farmers, all the stakeholders should get benefited. So that is what basically I want to convince.
Oh, Ashish, thanks for capturing the essence of the program. How important to ensure that the benefits of the program, particularly the compensation released by the insurance company, reaches the farmers as speedily as possible. Coming to Ajar, specifically, I want to know your mind. As I said, we have been dealing with a huge amount of data. Like the NCIP portal, I mean, I think it's such a massive component of this PMFBY, enabling the large scale the enrollment, as well as the whole huge volume data residing, and which insurance companies can access, which the governments can access, which the state governments can access. Probably going forward, we might see actually even other stakeholders getting access to the data. So what do you think?
Rao, sir?
Dr. Rao, we can't hear you. Yeah, Dr. Rao, we lost you for a minute. Dr. Rao, you're on mute.
Maybe. I'm sorry. Did you get Ajar what I mentioned?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I understood.
Yeah, yeah, please. Thank you so much. Please go ahead.
Good afternoon, all. First of all, I would like to thank ThinkAge and Propin team for inviting us to participate in this seminar. Certainly, major points have already been covered by Rao, sir. But few points just I want to add on the National Professions Portal, which I believe that this is one of the biggest digital intervention that we have seen in any kind of scheme. I mean, including crop insurance scheme. So way back in 2016, when we were implementing PMFBY scheme or restructure weather-based crop insurance scheme, at that point of time, the details of the document that is there, all these documents, hard copy of the documents were collected from bankers, which we used to call declaration form. Based on the declaration form, we used to book in our system, and there was technically no central repository of any data at the central government level. During 2017, when Government of India came up with this National Professions Portal, and it was communicated to all bankers that now the declaration the declaration form that used to be provided by bankers, or the documentation that used to be provided directly to insurance company, now they have to make the farmer level data entry into the National Professions Portal. So initially there was a lot of resistance that was faced by state government also and the central government also. But Government of India ensured that they have disseminated the information pertaining to the implementation of the scheme in the National Professions Portal. They ensured a regular training module to be shared with bankers. And what we have seen in last 4 years, now the entire farmers database is already there in the National Crop Insurance portal. So probably, 4 years back, bankers used to have a lot of resistance on making the entry, making the data entry individual level. But now they are very happy. In fact, Government of India in the National Crop Insurance portal also integrated the core banking system of few bankers who have the CBS system. So that is one of the biggest digital intervention that we can see of. For example, if we compare what used to happen in 2016 and what is happening in 2021, if Government of India have to reply to some queries pertaining to any district level coverage detail, they can directly get it from the portal. If a farmer want to search the status of the application, whether the status has been approved or rejected or pending for approval, they can directly get it in the system. In the portal with their application number. Um, Government of India has also initiated the inland letter dispatch to all farmers that is being done through insurance company. Currently, earlier we used to have this manual weekly report of coverage all across India. Now it is also been, there is already an upload module developed by Government of India. Currently, Government of India is also working on having a sort of claim status search where all these claims data will get integrated. So what I believe, sir, that this is one of the biggest digital intervention by Government of India. And a lot of suggestions have been taken from state government and other insurance company and other bankers also. As mentioned by Apoorv and Ashish, there have already been 3 changes in the revised operation guideline for last 5 years. What we have seen, government normally takes suggestion from all stakeholders, which includes state government, bankers, insurance company, a group of farmers. And based on that, they are changing operation guideline. And certainly, and currently, they have also developed a dashboard of the coverage data that can be that you can check the data at district level, which is already there in the National Crop Insurance portal. Plus, for example, now Government of India, because of this pandemic situation, what has happened, we have not been able to do the mass marketing activity because of the social distance norms that we had for 1.5 years. So a lot of digital activities being promoted by Government of India, whether is sending messages from vernacular languages, festival combining festival messages with scheme features, a lot. For example, in next month, Government of India is planning to start the crop insurance week. So all these formats, the way the formats needs to be taken, what kind of activities, marketing activities needs to be done to ensure that farmers do have awareness about the utility of insurance, especially the small and marginal farmers, and they should understand the role of insurance in sustainable in their sustainable livelihood development. That is being promoted by Government of India, and for especially in last 1.5 years, a lot of communication is going digitally. Even farmers are getting message pertaining to their coverage data. Farmers, they have also in National Crop Insurance portal, they have also developed a functionality where farmers can give the intimation, and we have seen some successes, especially in state like Maharashtra. During 2020, larger number of farmers intimation came through Government of India application only. Similarly, what we have seen, many states, the penetration of CC monitoring for Government of India CC app had substantially increased. So these are some of the great development that has happened in NCIP, and the continuation is going on. They are also started updating pertaining the different kind of claims calculation in the system.
Okay, Ajad, I think that's very comprehensive to talk about how the farmers are benefiting from the digitalization of the crop insurance, how they're receiving various messages, about probably the claim payments, and also probably the timely action they need to take to save their crops, not just from the insurance point of view, but from a larger crop protection point of view, and agriculture advisories from the agriculture department. Talking about NCIP, the National Crop Insurance Portal, I think it's, as I mentioned, it's a massive component of this program. We have already seen the Aadhaar integration, and probably, I think, probably in some time soon, probably we will see the land records, the digital land records being integrated. Probably that's going to be a massive development. We are looking forward to. When that happens, actually, we would probably see a kind of game changer. I would see it. Probably we will discuss that in the next round a little bit more and how this is going to help us. I would like to particularly know from Bhushanji. You have seen this, digitalization, the innovation technology from a top floor. You're involved in a bank prior to coming to SBI General. Then coming to SBI General, also you have led this from the front, and just not in agriculture, but but other lines. So, what do you think, basically, this innovative technologies or the digitalization, and how this is going to actually change the way we look at, we perceive insurance, particularly how farmers perceive this as?
Okay. Thank you, Dr. Rao, and thank you, Kroppen, for inviting me onto this platform. See, ultimately, if we are to make this program sustainable over a long-term period, we will have to ensure that there is an end-to-end digitization, which brings about higher transparency and also reduces the cost of operations. When I say that, because there is an element of OpEx which gets into pricing at some stage or the other. So how do we really bring that down? And that's I would like to carry on with what Azad referred to on the NCIP portal. I think they've done a lot of great work. I think a lot more is in the making. One is integrating all the banks and integrating their core banking onto the NCIP. Second is also integrating all the insurance companies onto the NCIP. Can we do it through a API call? Rather than looking at an upload-download facility. How do we really use technology to reduce the amount of time and effort spent on reconciliation and tagging the premium with the insured details? So ultimately, like what Dr. Mr. Meena spoke about, that ultimately any of these programs has to be to the benefit of the ultimate beneficiary, which is the farmer. How do I make it easy for him? How do I give him the confidence that he is getting the right kind of coverage at the right time, and the claim also gets to him on time? Therefore, all the participants in the program have a very, very important role to play with regards to their function, that they do it in time. Because a claim delayed is actually a claim not paid. Because he is out of funds. He has to do the next season or the next year's sowing. How does he do that? So, therefore, it is very, very essential to start with integrating the core banking, all the core bankings, all the insurance companies, bringing in all the land records. Aadhaar integration is already there. Bringing in technology to actually do a lot of these claim adjudication. That will be the next stage. I think that is where we really need to move towards. I know a lot of pilots are being done by various people, insurance companies. A lot of insurtechs and fintechs are in this field. Reinsurers are also driving some initiatives. But I think with that, we have to take that leap of faith and start productionizing some of these prototypes.
Yeah, Bhushanji, thank you so much. Your perspective, the farmers being the central pillar of this program. That perspective is very important. Like whatever we do, ultimately, it has to result in a quick settlement to the farmers and a fair settlement to the farmers, so that he has enough liquidity to continue his agriculture operations season after season. So thank you so much. Um, Mangesh, I'm sure you'll agree with the views we have got so far from four of the panelists. But I have a specific question to you, and you're being a reinsurer. So I have two questions to cover the time. One is generally we have been there have been conferences and the meetings. So right now the insurers have access to the data through NCIP. So we heard some requests in the past from some reinsurance companies that it will really help them if reinsurers also have access to this data. That's one point I would like you to kind of elaborate why. And secondly, um, what role? Because basically, when we are talking about technology, we are talking about the governments, that is state and central government. We are talking about the insurance companies who are the basically in the forefront of introducing and administering the technology. So I want to know from you how you, as a reinsurer, what role can you play in driving or supporting a technology or innovations in PMF?
Sure. Thanks, Dr. Rao. I think, first of all, thanks to Cropin and ThinkTech team for inviting me here and allowing me to share the thoughts from Swiss Re's perspective. You may see also a lot of participants from other countries participating in this event, and it just it's a testimony how relevant this whole topic is and how critical is the Indian crop insurance business is for the world. I think I fully support the views that the scheme that we have today is fairly participatory in nature, where views from multiple stakeholders, including reinsurers, are listened to and respected. I think it resonates well with the democracy that we enjoy in India. And here, as far as your two questions are concerned, first is the access to data, and second is what is the role that we can play. I would like to rather, flip the sequence here. I would like to first talk about a bit more, start with the role of reinsurers in the scheme. Uh, Although we are a bit distant player from the farmers because we are mainly into B2B business model with the insurers, we have actually taken a lot of efforts to bring in not only the financial capacity which is needed to run this sort of humongous scheme, but also a lot of insights from global markets to make the crop implementation in the country bit better. I'll give a couple of examples here. One is I would like to proudly mention about the Polysaver Insight, which we were able to bring in on the topic of crop cutting experiment optimization, using a small pilot project which was supported by Swiss Re and AIC, Agriculture Insurance Company of India, about 7 years back. With the help of course, state government of Maharashtra, Krida, and Nairobi. The whole project was located around the concept of how can we make the crop cutting experiment bit easier for the states to handle. Can we reduce the number of experiments without touching the accuracy much? And I think we were fairly successful in demonstrating that at least certain crops can be brought into an optimized CC setup going forward. And glad to see that Odisha government and a few other state governments have also started adopting this whole method of optimized crop cutting experiment. Not that this is a completely new concept, but I think a company like Swiss Re, companies like AIC, getting into such topics, I think that definitely helped in pushing the overall policy discussion around this matter. Another initiative was through RICE consortium, RIICE, where Swiss Re was a partner organization, and we tried to bring in more objectivity in the sowing failure declaration for paddy crop in Tamil Nadu. I think both of these projects obviously, harness satellite data sets and a lot of machine learning insights, which are basically the core themes of the conference today. But I think CC optimization or sowing failure identification are just few issues, I would say. And here I come to your question related to access of data. Today, I would like to focus a bit on this topic. Currently, we have a beautiful multifunctional portal which connects with several stakeholders, as described by the other fellow participants here. Now that we have data being collected over the last 4 or 5 years from different parts of the value chain of PMFBY, can we work a bit on the matter of data repository and management of the data access? There is a good dashboard already built in the NCIP portal, which is accessible to everyone. But I'm sure we can further fine tune it and make it more granular in nature, because at this moment the information is available at the district level. So how do we make that? For example, we currently do not have a clear idea on which states have paid how many subsidies, which claims are under dispute. Uh, and at times we also struggle with the multiple series of yield data sets. And I'm not too sure whether portal is the way to handle this, but I'm sure that these are pertinent questions which need to be addressed in the longer run. Also, we are a bit unsure whether every insurer has an easy access to the central repository of the granular Gram Panchayat level data, because ultimately we are talking about a scheme which is being implemented at Gram Panchayat level. So from that angle, do we have insurance penetration figures which are available to every insurer, not only the implementing insurers but other insurers as well, so that they can do a bit of more informed decision making at the time of bidding. This can also impact the rates in a better fashion, perhaps. Uh, Other topic is, of course, related to land digitization, which is again remotely connected with the portal and data access. And I think this matter also needs a serious push, particularly from the state level, given that states are custodians of the land records here.
Yeah.
Ultimately, yeah, sorry.
So Mangesh, this land records, other things, I think we'll certainly take up in the
Sure.
second round.
Sure.
Thank you so much for being upfront and transparent and letting us know why reinsurers need access to certain kind of data, at least, if not the whole data.
Thanks.
Right, thank you. So, as I said, it's a multi-agency, multi-stakeholder program. But there's another set of partners we found relevant after the introduction of PMABY is the support services. I mean, we have starting from the verification of the bank records, monitoring the crop experiments, and also providing crop health reports during the season as to how the crop is doing. So there are a lot of support services and also found relevance in this space. So I'd like to know from Kunal, as a sectoral player who's providing these services, and also as CropIn. So what do you see your role and how you are contributing to the efficiencies here?
Well, thanks, Dr. Rao. When we talk about technology, right, the first thing that comes to our mind is to continuously innovate. And while we were listening to all the speakers here, we heard that in the last 6 years now, there has been 3 times where the policies have changed, and rightly so, right? Because the farmers, the challenges are different, right? The weather patterns and the climate change are impacting the patterns at what's happening in agriculture. So going from a border perspective to coming to a very finer, minute perspective, detail going to the farmer level, it requires technology to continuously innovate. And that is what we are seeing that we bring as support services to this particular larger initiative. Thankfully, 4 years back, the government realized that it's not only about digital, and we realized that insurance is one of the industry which is data hungry. The more you have data, the better you can build your products, and the better you can service your customers. And the same is the case with technology players like us. The more we have the data, the better we can build in and improve our models and increase our accuracies from 80% to 85% or 90% even beyond. So I think even for and what happens at the end is, for insurance companies, for service providers like us, we can better service not only the farmers' larger holistic problem, but going to the details of every single farmer. As technology, we can also innovate solutions to there are different hybrid products which are also available in different markets. Like talk about developed markets, there are hybrid products which are available. And all of these products can be made possible when there is enough data to support each and every single farmer. And thankfully, as we are listening, like we have now the farmers data, which is like 50 data for every single farmer. If you can integrate that, and that's happening, I see in the coming shorter time, integrate that with land record, and then overlay that with the satellite data, it becomes a very, very interesting proposition to go to every single farmer and service in that particular perspective. Over the last 3 years, we have also supported the Pradhan Mantri Fasal Bima Yojana, and that has also innovated as we work with them. Initially, it was about the crop cutting experiment optimization, what Mangesh was talking about, which was done 6-7 years back. The government realized that this has to be done again in a holistic manner. So they gave the program to initially around eight partners of theirs, and we helped the government to optimize and find the right locations for doing the crop cutting experiment. So that first project was termed successful. After that, the government realized that it's not only about finding the right locations using your optimization, but it's also finding the yield at them, because that's what matters to do the claim settlements at the easiest way possible. So in the last three seasons now, the program has changed now to an yield estimation program. And the government has also changed the levers, and they are going accelerated manner. So from initially 4 to 5 districts that was given to us, now we are now every season we are crossing around 25 districts in 7 to 8 states, and that's the level at which the government is now bringing those building those models. So hopefully what we see is these innovations would get into the mainstream programs of PMFBY and could be leveraged by institutions which are partnering to build that collaboration all together. At the end, we see that the farmers really getting benefited from this insurance scheme, and technology really playing a very important role in that.
Thank you so much, Kunal. I think undoubtedly, most insurance companies are availing the services. Besides the government, where you're involved, engaged by MNCFC and others, for piloting certain technologies. So there are a lot of support services which are being used by the insurance companies and reinsurance companies. So I suppose I think in technology, deployment of technology in these areas plays an important role in delivering the ultimate the benefit to the farmers. So that brings us to the end of the first round. I think we consumed more time than what envisaged at the beginning. So without losing much time, I would like to start the second round. So in the second round, basically, we would like to discuss more the day-to-day kind of the issues we see in implementation, operationalization. For example, I've identified 3 specific pillars, where the technology are playing a very important role. So these 3 pillars: one, of course, the NCIP and the enrollment process. NCIP, as I see, it's already doing a massive job, no doubt about that. But as you look at the operational guidelines, which is so comprehensive document, a 140-page document, so comprehensively describes most functions and the SOPs. The NCIP is also probably, as we go forward, we'll have the threshold yields stored, and probably when the crop cutting is done, the average yields also go into the final yields also go into the NCIP, and there is all the exposure data, underwriting data is already residing in that particular portal. So basically now the claim automation, when the NCIP portal has the underwriting data and the threshold yields and the actual yields, the claim processing, claim approval can be an automated process. So once we have the state and central government share of subsidy with us or with the insurance companies, so that should lead to a kind of a very expeditious settlement of claims. So that's one area I flagged. What exactly we need to do on that. And the second one is the yield estimation. Ultimately the most crucial element of the claim settlement is the yield, and not just the threshold yield, but the current yield. We know we have inherited a system of crop estimation which is as old as probably 60 or 70-year-old, very well established, statistically proven system, but the current requirements are different. So our government rightly brought in a lot of audit process, transparency in the process. So and the government is also running a lot of other pilots. We know of the smart sampling, we know of the 2-step yield estimation process, and probably a proxy yield data using technology, not just merely to use as when you escalate the matter, as when issues raised, but as a kind of a normal process to settle the claim. And the third area is basically the land records and its integration. So we can derive the best benefits of having the complete land records, as you can visualize on your own system, like vis-a-vis the farmer who's insured, who can see, you can identify a farmer using the Aadhaar number, the telephone number, the customer number. As you can also actually would like to see a farmer, what crop he has sown in a given season. You can overlay your crop map of the current season on that, and you can actually see whether he has grown that crop or not. You can check the insurable interest. You can do a lot of that. I feel that also another kind of a game changer. So the second round, I would like to have your thoughts on these three areas, how NCIP portal can get further kind of add bring an innovation into it and add more processing built into it. And secondly, the yield estimation, the new methods, or new indices if you have new products. And third is the land records. So I would like to start with Mangesh. Although just close with you the first round, but starting with you the second round. So let me see the enrollment. The government of India certainly wants. They're creating huge budgets. For example, they've budgeted 16,000 crores for 21-22. So the government objective is very clear. They want as many farmers to get enrolled and receive the benefits of this. So the portal is playing an important role, and the CSC, like agents like they're playing an important role. So what do you think? What other innovations what other technologies can actually help us in increasing the insurance penetration? How we should have more farmers understanding the importance and realize the benefits of insurance, the insurance concepts, and we have larger numbers coming into the program, leading to the universalization of insurance.
Thanks, Dr. Rao. I think one critical component that needs to be addressed is the way in which the non-loany sales has been happening across the country. If you see, there are only 2 states where non-loany is a dominant segment. Otherwise, in most of the other states, the subscription of insurance still happens backed by the agriculture loans. I believe there is a lot of scope just going beyond your normal, crop insurance product related matters. This is really a sales related issue which needs to be addressed. Various ways to address. I think there is a lot of stepping up of CSC which has been observed in the last 2-3 years. I think CSC channel is emerging as one of the biggest channels to increase the subscription of crop insurance across villages. But I think apart from that, can we have a bit of a mobile sort of setup? And I think Ashish, perhaps you can talk a bit about the village insurance network initiative that you are currently spearheading. I won't take much time on that, but I think the fundamental idea is, can we, increase the footsteps in the rural area where we have more agents, we deploy more brokers, we deploy more staff from the insurance company to assess the feasibility of selling such products. Maybe not through the typical laptops which are used by CSCs, but by maybe the mobile devices or tabs. I think that is something which is perhaps is a topic which will definitely increase the footprint of insurance. Another is a really policy level sort of decision, and here I would like to take a few names like states of Jharkhand, state of West Bengal, where there was a policy level decision made to universalize the scheme, so that the farmers' share of premium is also picked up by the state government itself. So there is a heavier subsidy inflow from the state government, heavier commitment from the state government. But what it helps in doing is something which is beyond imagination. Actually, it makes the overall scheme universal in nature in that state. It also avoids a bit of an anti-selection that we may see in the scheme like this. And in general, in the longer run, this definitely helps insurers in having a more stable portfolio. So I would say these two initiatives are really critical in making sure our footprint increases from scheme perspective. Thanks, Doctor.
Okay, thanks, Mangesh. Probably it's important that I also take a view from the front line, the insurance companies, how they see this. So may I ask Apurva exactly how you see this?
I think it's the NCIP portal, which is currently working on a web access. I think it's a high time now when the digitization needs to be automated. I think the portal now needs to come on the application, which should be an Android-based application, which can be actually given an access to the agents, to the brokers, to the farmer even, who really wants to enroll himself. And once if this access has been given, and along with the land record digitization, I think if these two things have been, the API integrations have been done for these two things, the farmer can enroll himself, take the confirm that he is sowing this particular land at this acreages and this crop has been sown. I think along with that, the coordinates can come across to the insurance companies, to the central government. And basis those coordinates, we can actually do a crop masking and identify that the declaration which farmer has given is really he sowing that particular crop or not, or because of the sum insures or because of any different reason he has chosen that particular crop. So I think it's now a time when we need to move on from a web application to the mobile applications. And on the second Sir, on the second question, I think now the yield modeling, it's the responsibility of the insurance companies now to come on the field, collect the as many as ground truthing points, provide it to the government, provide it to the agencies which are already on the field for the remote sensing technology and this thing. Now government will have to create a repository of the satellite images. Those ground truthing can be utilized for crop masking, for identification of the crops, areas, these all things. And then utilizing these all items for the crop modeling. So if you really get the crop masking, ground truthing points, a huge number of ground truthing points, I think the accuracy level of risk or the accuracy of the yield estimation will be much higher. I think Kunal has rightly pointed out that if the land record integrations are done, I think the crop masking is a really easy step to go across.
Okay, that's an important observation, Apurva. So would you like, and besides the points which have been aired by Apurva, Ashish or Ajar, would you like to add anything more to what Apurva said on this?
Sir, in terms of enrollment through digital process, I think Mangesh and Apurva has already pointed out a lot of things actually. But what we believe, sir, insurance is still something for which a customer still needs to take some double opinion, like before getting enrollment. They always want to understand that what kind of benefit they'll be getting, because still insurance is not something like that anybody comes with their own. They need some kind of assistance. And that is the reason, if you see, though Government of India is doing a lot of effort, in fact, a huge amount of budget is there to create awareness about the program, and around 0.5% of the total premium is getting used only to create awareness. Okay, and no doubt CSC has done a lot of good work in terms of getting insurance, enrolling those farmers who are coming and who basically want to get insurance, and they can at least make an effort to reach out to the CSC centers. But still there are a huge chunk of farmers, like at least 50-60% farmers are there, who they are not coming with their own. In fact, there might be other reason that either they're not aware about the program, or they don't want to go to the bank, or they don't want to go to the CSC center. So I think to increase the enrollment, Now the next step is to reach out to them. Means Government is doing a lot of effort. So like rightly said by Purva and Mangesh, that I think from this portal, now we need to take this portal to the farmer level. So it means basically either through some kind of app which a farmer can use. Because now most of things are happening through this mobile only, and thankfully this COVID has kind of make everybody aware that how they can use this mobile app to do transactions. So this will go a long way, and I'm sure from our side as a Bajaj Allianz, we have developed an app called Farm Mitra, right? And this Farm Mitra app has all the facilities in which a farmer can get all kind of information related to their policy, related to their claims. They can also intimate the claim. All those things are available, and it is being used very widely. In fact, more than 4 lakh customers are there now who are kind of doing transaction. They're trying to get their information. Now, actually, we are now just requesting Government of India to integrate our this mobile app to the portal, so that the farmer can also buy the insurance from through using this app. That if this happens, definitely enrollment will increase.
Okay, Ashish, I think you made a very important point. Like, instead of expecting the farmers to come to CSC or come to the portal, you take a portal, a miniature of the portal to the farmer.
Yeah.
So that basically, farmers don't have to travel. Probably it creates a convenience to the farmers to basically come in big numbers. So Ajar, would you like to add anything to this?
Just to add 2 points, sir.
Additional points, please, if you want.
Yes.
Yeah.
I mean, on the enrollment part, the Government of India, as I was mentioning earlier, that in last 1.5 years, most of the mass marketing activities had been stopped because of the social distancing measures that that is already there implemented all across the district because of this COVID lockdown. So Government of India has focused a lot into digital marketing activity. So what we have seen, there has been a lot of SMS blast, video content blast. Today, if you see, as mentioned by Ashish, they have taken a separate budget for all mass media activities. And now we can see advertisement coming in today. There were some advertisements in UP newspapers, local newspaper, wherein they have shown a testimonial of the farmer. There are some video content that is being propagated by state government, where short stories of farmers who have been benefited from crop insurance have been demonstrated over there, and which we believe that it will ultimately culminate into an insurance transaction. So that is one part. So enrollment part, a lot of digital activities being done, and that's well been disseminated through all across all the different kind of agencies of state government and also district administration. On the claims part, just to add on to what Mangesh and Apu said, that the claim calculation part, a lot of pilots have already been done. For example, sir, there has already been initially it was launched as a pilot, the smart sampling concept. Initially, it was launched as a pilot in Odisha. Now it has become a full-fledged exercise. Similarly, Government of India wanted to have this smart sampling activity for major or homogeneous crop for all paddy and wheat belt all across India. So this needs to be taken up further. And just to add on to what our panelists said, that if we can have the land integration and also the cadastral map, then definitely we can do a lot of activity based on satellite-based data on calculating localized, claims losses or crop identification. All these activities can be carried out once we have both the land integration and land with the cadastral mapping, and that this is something that Kunal also mentions.
Yeah, Ajad, I think we all fully agree with what you said. How we can actually digitize some of these concepts and take it to the farmers. So I'll come to Pushanji. Actually, this is not exactly a technology, but you were a banker. Probably once a banker, you are always a banker. So what we are seeing is, in some sections of the probably banking, it's a collateral to the lending which the bank does. So it's no doubt, because now this individual entry of the farmer details and all that is actually is something which probably may have added to the workload of the concerned people on the banking level. So does it go with whatever the IT platforms the banks have, and whatever we have in NCIP? So is there a correct interface? Is the banking sector is fully in line with exactly NCIP objectives?
On this, I think the banks have taken a lot of steps to integrate their IT systems with the requirements of the insurance sector, because at the end of the day, it acts as a risk mitigant for them. Because one of the major reasons for overuse in agriculture could be natural calamities or crop failure for any other reason. I won't say that all the banks are at the same level. At least the leading banks have taken a lot of efforts to bring that into sync. And I think it's in their own interest that ultimately, if they are able to very seamlessly transfer the data that they are capturing, and basically the data that is required is also the data that they use for their underwriting. It's not that we are asking for something very, very different. Most of the, at least the more larger and more sophisticated banks are collecting this data for their underwriting. So if it is already there, it's a question of really building that interface so that this data travels seamlessly, and in turn from NCIP, it should travel seamlessly to the insurance company. Then only that whole cycle really works.
Okay, I think that's very important perspective from a banking dimension. Now let me actually, spend some time on the technologies, the pilots. We know that MNCFC has been in the forefront of doing or launching several pilots. As such, I believe the Government of India, Ministry of Agriculture, has tasked MNCFC to carry the technology pilots on the yields, probably new indices. That's how probably we've been talking about the smart sampling. We have been talking about the two-step yield process, all being incorporated in the operational guidelines. So I have two questions for the panelists. One, what is the current status of the smart sampling and the two-step process? Has it been actually been used? Has it been used for picking the samples, arriving the yields, or has it been actually implemented as part of the PMFY claim settlement or the yield estimation? That's my first query to the panelists. The second one will be, this is a massive scheme. This is a massive scheme, and we know from experience of other countries, wherever the scheme of this volume, this magnitude is being implemented, there is a huge technical, kind of a backup to do the R&D work and to handle most of the technology pilots, so that the correct inputs gets channelized into the program. So I would like to say, for example, we know that MNCFC under the leadership of late Shibendure, who's such a nice gentleman. Unfortunately, we lost him to the COVID. Very unfortunate. He was totally committed. He was totally, kind of a ownership shown from his side, from his institution. But given the enormity of the tasks we are looking at, because as I said, we might do anything, but ultimately, the foundation has to be very strong. Once you have a strong foundation, in terms of the yield estimation or the process we are doing, automatically everything will result in benefits to the stakeholders. So my first question is whether these smart sampling and the two-step process have been done in any of the states. If it's been done, what are the results? How it's being perceived? The second is, we know that MNCFC has been doing an excellent job. And do you think this we will continue probably, or we think probably some more kind of resources have to be mobilized for MNCFC to really kind of improve the timelines or improve the outcomes? So probably again you can start in alphabetical order, starting with Apurva.
Sir, I think the smart sampling has already been implemented in Odisha state, and I think from 2019 they have been implementing this thing. So the results have obviously been very nice. So the cropping experiments have shown a very positive results. The actual yields are coming across in front of all the people, and I think the loss ratios have dramatically reduced. So I think this will definitely come benefit to the premium rates in the next 2-3 years. So I think the first point or the objective of the government of India is getting fulfilled by streamlining the cropping experiments and the premium rates to be stabilized. On the second point, I think the efforts, the commitment from Racer was excellent. But we need to understand that things, if we have to really stabilize that, we need an independent organization, or the TSU needs to take up this thing now as a making as an independent team complete to digitize these all things. I think Shubhendu Ray sir did a great job, and he was very committed to this thing, and unfortunately we lost him. But now it's time. I think Government of India needs to think about it and make a complete a separate organization about this thing to support and bring these all pilots or studies in front of the public, and bring the results of the same and implement it on a larger way. As in NCIP, Government of India took 50 odd districts to implement MNIS scheme. So now it's time when Government of India can come up that these are our studies, these are our results, and we are implementing this in 50 odd districts as a full-fledged scheme for this thing. Or the yield settle, or the claim settlement will be using these methodologies only.
Okay, Apurva, since you're taking an example of Odisha and Reliance and of course HDFC, both were present in Odisha in 2021, probably 2022. So let me go to Ashish. Are there any more states other than Odisha which have kind of implemented these? Implemented means being actually use the results of the smart sampling in the way the crop cuttings samples have been taken.
Sir, we are aware that Government of India, since inception of this scheme, they have been doing a lot of pilots to use the technology-driven CC to kind of replace the CC and use technology to assess the crop. So a lot of pilot is being done. As you are aware that no, it has not been implemented in a full-fledged manner in any state. But I would like to kind of cite an example. I think the technologies played a very important role, like in case of what happened in the year 2019 in Maharashtra, when there was unseasonal rainfall at the harvesting stage of soybean crop, and almost all the farmers, means more than around 60 lakh farmers, gave the intimation to the government and the insurance company, and it was a kind of nightmare to handle those kind of intimation. Right, to how to kind of do because as per the scheme, we were supposed to visit the field and do the survey and settle the claim, which was actually impossible task because you cannot conduct more than around 6 lakh survey individual basis. So at that time, I think MNCFC and also NRSC, they played a very important role. They kind of assisted Government of India and Government of Maharashtra to kind of give the assessment about the losses, that how this losses could be assessed without going the field. And it has given a very transparent and a very systematic kind of approach, basis which the insurance company settled the claim. So that has happened, sir. So it is being done. I won't say that it has been accepted, but as and when it is needed, I think Government of India is taking help, and all the state governments are taking help, and they're trying to use the technology for loss assessment. But just one point basically I would like to highlight here is, as of now, whatever effort is being done, it is being done mostly to use the technology for CC optimization kind of thing, right? But the important USP of the PMFBY is the localized claims. If we can settle the claim at local level, if we can kind of settle the grievances, if we can handle the individual claim in a timely manner and settle the claim, then this scheme is through. Because earlier, whatever was there, it was there earlier, MNIS also, NIS also. But I think this localized claim has to be settled in a very technology-driven manner, which will be helpful for the insurance company, to the reinsurance company, to the farmer also. And it will give a different kind of advantage. For that, I think there's a need by all the insurance company and also to the with the governments to kind of come up with the technology, use that to settle the claim. For that, we are also doing some pilot with some agencies, and I'm sure it is going to help us a lot. And I think that is something which Government of India should now start focusing on, because if we'll not be able to settle the claim on an individual basis, then the interest kind of the farmer is kind of coming down, or it is taking a lot of grievances also.
Okay, Ashish, tell us, is there any state which have actually done the two-step processing estimation during 2021?
I am not aware, sir. I don't think anybody has done that.
Okay.
So just to add, Dr. Rao, so yeah, the yield estimation process, there are partners still working like in 2020. 2021 is just the year that is starting, right? The Kharif season. But last year, both for Kharif and Rabi, Cropin was working in 7 states in more than 25 districts for both of these seasons. And this yield estimation was done. And to also point to Ashish that it was also done at the insurance unit level. That's a Gram Panchayat level. So both the crop cutting optimization was also done, and the yield estimation was also done at the Gram Panchayat level, so that the farmers which are growing those crops and have taken the insurance can be the insurance settlements can happen based on that. So this was a project, and I think this is also the right forum to also get convinced and also ask the government to really bring that implementation of technology at scale, even at the central PMFBI level.
Okay, I think Kunal, that was an important intervention because you're involved. You're one of the vendors, I think, used by the MNCFC for conducting these pilots. Ajar, I want to come to you with a specific question on the localized calamities. I may be wrong, but what I've been hearing from the market is there been a delay in settlement of localized calamities. And, of course, when you go into the reasons of the delay, then the couple of things I heard was basically when an event, because localized calamities is related to a specific events which have been defined in the operational guidelines. Not every loss, it is because of certain perils which have been identified as mentioned in the operational modalities. So what I heard from some sources that every time there is an event, whether there is a loss or not, the insurance companies start receiving a huge number of loss intimations. So that is making it difficult for the insurance companies to speedily, attend to the go to the farm and individual farms and assess the losses and settle the claims. So I want particularly, the underwriters, all three of you, could you think of something how a technology could help us here in first to ensure that farmers, only the insured farmers who are affected by the defined peril who have suffered the loss actually intimate. Secondly, you are able to cross-check that using a technology that this farmer is actually insured and he is actually planted the same crop as actually insured, and actually the event has happened, so you can actually send out the people and they can actually assess the losses, and that would actually lead to a faster settlement of claims. Is there any way technology can actually enable this process here? So again, let me start with Apurva. Apurva,
yeah, I think, sir. I think the first step and the first thing which we discussed in the session of this was land record integrations. I think Government of India is already working on the portal where all the claim intimation needs to be through the Government of India's application or the portal through which all the intimations are to be updated. If the land record integrations are also done for all the states, I think the first step, the verification of the farmer, is done through the portal itself, that is the farmer insured or not. Secondly, the land which is to be insured and the land which is actually suffered the localized calamity. The third step could be if the land record integrations are done, the coordinates can be or the cadastral maps can be provided. The coordinates can get to the insurance companies, basis which the pre and post, the pre-incidence and the post-incidence images can be captured from the agencies which are already involved into the satellite imagery providing agencies, and that I think that will really help to foster the settlement of the claims.
Okay, your take, Ajad and Ashish, on this.
Sir, just to add on to what Apurv said, I mean, during the localized risk, I mean, it has been clearly mentioned that there are certain defined perils to be covered under localized risk, and also the proxy indicators have been defined in the notification and the operation guideline. But certainly, the current practice is whether we receive an intimation based on, I mean, if the intimation has been received in defined timeline and for the named peril, we are going ahead and doing the loss survey. But one of the incidents that Ashish was referring to, what happened in Maharashtra in 2019, suddenly you have say 20 lakh intimation, and within a span of 10 days we had to do the survey. That is not practically possible. So in that case, I mean, technological intervention can always be looked into. Sir, I mean, earlier also we were discussing on the smart sampling in CC. The same thing, a sort of smart sampling can be done for the localized risk intimation also. There are two important requirement could be for smart sampling. For example, in CC also, for the project that is being done in Odisha, the smart sampling has been done I mean, there are two primary objectives of smart sampling. One, to have a representative yield, and the second part is to reduce the number of CCs. So on the smart sampling that is being done in Odisha, good representation can be arrived, and that can be clearly seen, but the reduction in CC have not yet happened. So same thing needs to be, I mean, this is also a part of two-step.
Yes. Ajad, can you specifically talk about the localized calamities part?
So my point is, sir, even in the case of localized calamity, if we are receiving say 1 lakh intimation and we have to do survey within 10 days and we have to go for area approach, I mean, satellite data can be used to again classify those plots into good, moderate, bad or average plots. And area which the area approach estimation under localized risk can also be ascertained using smart sampling. And the second part is, if we have the cadastral mapping, if we have the data, the geocoordinates data based on our internal remote sensing team or based on the agency, notified agency, we can always find out if the farmers, I mean, the pre-event and the post-event scenario of the particular field, and also we can identify the crop.
Has anyone used the drones also to identify the areas affected and to demarcate the areas which are affected to help you in faster settlement? Has anyone used the drones?
Yeah, drone has been used, sir. In fact, not only by us, but all the insurance companies are using drones as and when it's needed. But drones can use only when there's a very when the calamity or event has not affected the huge volume of field, because it's a very costly and also time-consuming process, right?
Yeah.
Do it when the effect of a hailstorm or effect of excess rainfall it's only limited to 1 or 2 village or 10 village kind of thing. So we have used this drone technology in Maharashtra. We have used this in MP also, just to get some idea, and we have used that to cross-verify the field result, because whatever surveyor kind of give the report, we just try to verify that they will correct or no.
Okay, let me.
I think, sir, I'll just add one thing with Ashish's point, that the drones can actually be utilized when, even if there is a pre-swing failure or there is a midterm calamity announced by the government.
Okay,
I think that at that point of time, the drones can also be utilized.
Yeah, I think that's very relevant point. Kunal, do you use, your cropping? Are you deploying drones or UAVs and who are into any kind of service, similar service?
Yeah, so like now, depending on the scale, again, like now answered earlier, like now, if there are very localized challenges that we see, which needs a very high level of detailing, that is where we use drones, because the cost of operations of a drone is not scalable to the extent of going to a district level or state level, right? So we only use it on a sampling basis, but then we extrapolate that drone data using the satellite data, which is the primary data for us for our assessments. But yes, for need basis, we use drones at times.
Okay, so I think probably we are running towards the 5 o'clock. I don't know how much more time we have. I need to know from the from the organizers. But before that, I have a few important questions. I want Mangesh to kindly take those questions. One, Mangesh, I mean, the technology, as I said, as we all agreed, it has to bring in efficiencies in whatever we do. So in case of insurance, as I said, encourage farmers in large numbers, reduce the rates and the universalization and faster settlement, fair settlement, all these are the objectives. So it means basically when you're talking about fair settlement, we also talk about new products as such, right? So we have the yield index primarily, and we also have the weather-based index, which was in great demand probably 10 years ago, but I think in the last 4 or 5 years I seem to have lost the shine. And probably I don't know if there's anything the latest technologies can actually help the WBCS to regain the glory of 10 years back. That's one part. The second part is, the new indices. For example, we know AICI introduced a product in West Bengal using the CHF crop health factor. And that's being used in the entire state, just not a pilot of one crop or one district. That's being used as a massive, widespread kind of a fully utilized product. So what's your take on this? I mean, this new technologies leading to new product concepts, new products.
Yeah, thanks, Dr. I think very important question, because so far I think the discussion closely revolved around PMABY as a product. We have, of course, inside PMABY the yield index component and the sort of indemnity style component, which is related to your localized calamities. But I'm sure we can think a bit beyond yield as a parameter of indemnification and reduce its significance to bring in more objective assessment of crop stress. I think the current guidelines of PMABY thankfully allow certain interventions, mainly around yield models and use of other indices to reflect the losses. So I believe there is a lot of scope in the current PMABY product itself to bring in things related to, let's say, weather index, as I think some of the participants mentioned, particularly around post-harvest loss mechanism, soil moisture index as well, or maybe NDVI or other vegetation indices. So that's one part when it comes to the context of PMABY. But I think beyond the PMABY scheme states, we have already heard a bit from Mr. Meena today around the product that was created by Bihar government, which seems to be fairly in sync with what PMABY does, but a bit more on technological front. This is to reduce the dissonance between the premium subsidy spent and the claim amount as per him. But I would like to definitely highlight the innovative product tried out by West Bengal government, AICI and NRSC last year in 2020. I'm really missing the representation from AICI here, because they were closely involved in this product and worked a lot with NRSC and with West Bengal government to bring this product on ground. I will leave aside the monetary aspect of insurance mechanism here, because there is a surplus sharing mechanism involved in this model, because that's a bit debatable topic depending on the risk appetite of the insurers. But as far as the product is concerned,
we are not talking about risk sharing. We are just talking about the technicalities of the product.
Exactly. So as far as product is concerned, it revolves around the concept of crop health factor, which in other words, it tackles the crop stress rather than the reduction in the yield. That's the fundamental difference between that product and the typical yield index product that we see under PMABY. Or let's say in prior years, we had seen that in MNAIS or NAIS products. The models are basically expected to evolve over the years, and a lot of ground truthing efforts are already being done by AICI and the government here. But after some initial hiccups, we do see a hope of reducing the time of claim settlement here, because the claims are entirely dependent on satellite datasets, which are fairly available quickly, not exactly real time, but near real time. Moreover, the products that we are talking here, these are practically free for the farmers, and that also brings in the topic of universalization. That also helps in having such project rolled out at the statewide level so that your fixed expenses are also taken care of. Apart from this, I think we believe that Telangana government is also trying out a few things in the space of farm level insurance product. It would be an interesting space to watch. I would say simply as an industry professional, uh, my task or our task here is in the coming few years would be to cater to the unserved market and bring in more insights to strengthen the current operational framework, which is already quite flexible, I would say. So that eventually the PMFBY itself becomes a universal scheme and we don't need really state specific schemes.
Yeah. I think that's very nice of you to bring in the perspective, CHO, because we are actually really missing AIC here, who did were an important player and launched this pilot in West Bengal. So actually, we have a lot more to discuss, but I think we didn't realize the time that we already spent about an hour and 30 minutes discussing. But I think all good things have to come to close. So I think probably we better close. That's what I've been told. The next 5, maybe 10 minutes, we would like to spend on taking the questions, because we had a huge participation of participants from across different countries as well. So there's some questions which have come, and there's some questions which have been shared with me. Probably I will probably read the questions for you. Probably maybe you will be able to, when whoever, which of you think comfortable, please do so. Well, there are some of the questions probably already answered, so therefore I'm not actually. So one question is on the land records, of course, which I've discussed. Basically, it's though land records are getting updated, are the maps at plot level are getting updated? This one question is more on the land records digitization side. So basically, I think the question basically says, the lands are getting divided. There's a mutation happening, the ownership and all that. So is it really happening on the digital side as well, so that when you actually link in with your underwriting record, that can actually capture that? So that's one question. So the NDVI and crop yield estimation is a whole topic. Of course, I mean, we will discuss that in one or the other form. So there's one question: can the digitalized crop insurance system be combined with the commodity exchange platforms to bring in a system where fluctuations in farm income can be insured with equal efficiency? That's my second question, which probably if you can take. And that the third question basically is, regarding the BSBY in West Bengal. So that, of course, you already answered, this crop health factor. So you are since already explained, probably we need not revisit again. So the two questions I primarily want you to kind of, whoever you think is, one is, related to the land records division and actually the updation part. The second part is, syncing this with the commodity markets, the NCIP portal again, actually integration with the commodity markets, and through that providing an income protection insurance to the farmers. So I won't specify who should take, but since it's a general question, come to the panel, any of you can probably try.
So let me pick up the integration, for the commodity markets. I think the land record will be such a wonderful data asset that could really integrate many other players. And we talked about insurance. We also talked about banks. These banks can have one single portal through which they can understand that which farmers have taken the loans, have not taken the loans, so that the loans can be serviced across. But it could also provide an entry for technology companies or startups which are working in the field of agriculture, right? We've talked about non-loany farmers, how do we register them? How do we convince them? Right. So I think since these are digital portals, we can have APIs, and we have these hundreds of startups which are having their own applications across different segments, and they can have a form, right? They can have a form for loan origination, and this form can directly, if there is a complete template captured, then this can directly integrate to the NCIP portal, and the the request can be raised there. So I think there has to be innovative ways of inflows as well as outflow of solutions on this NCIP portal. So I really believe that on commodities, if we can integrate that, it could be a quite a advantage. Total solution for the farmers can be there.
Okay. So anyone from the insurance underwriting side would like to add anything more?
I think, sir, the main question to that the farmer, if a land is on the name of the father and the distribution is made to the children's, I think that is a challenge where people don't go to the patwaris and the land record holders to get that updated. Then that's a challenge for the insurance companies, to the banks, everybody. I think if that ownership will have to be taken by the farmers, that they need to get that updated as and when it has been changed. And if that is done, I think the perfect data is received to everyone.
Okay, I think
sir,
that brings us to the closure of this program. But before I actually close, I would like to give opportunity to Pushin Mahapatraji. So if he has anything to, using his wisdom, his long experience as a banker, as well as someone who's driving the strategy at the SBI General, would you have any final thoughts on this?
See, let's face that this is a very, very important scheme which brings protection to the farmers. And all of us together have to make it work. All the participants, be it the insurers, reinsurers, the technology players, the state governments, the central governments, and the farmers themselves, and all the enrolling agencies and the support agencies. We just cannot fail the country. So I think all of us have to work in tandem. During the course of implementation, there will be learnings, there will be changes, but that is what we have to factor in. And I think as the scheme has been in operation for 5 years, some of the issues of pricing and all is also based on the data set that we take for 10 years and year, where there could be an anomaly in the initial years. For the last 4-5 years since the program has been there, the data is quite rich. But the data before that could have issues. So my own feeling is that as we evolve, given another couple of years, the data will become richer. And I think you will see much better outcomes going forward. And all of us need to work together to make it succeed.
So thank you so much. You rightly said we cannot afford to fail. We cannot afford to fail the farmers. So on this note, we would like to close this. And before I hand over to the organizers, I would like to express my gratitude and thanks to all the participants, all the panelists for actively contributing and sharing your valuable views and your experiences on this forum. I'm sure those who have participated, registered, I'm sure they would have something to take as a takeaway after participating or after joining this webinar. Thank you so much.
Hello and good evening, everyone. My name is Jitesh Shah, and I'm the Chief Revenue Officer at Cropin Technologies. And I'm going to enable the closing now. The latest edition that we just did on the AgFinTech webinar series in association with HSBC and ThinkAg was obviously focused on the digitalization of crop insurance. As we've all discussed, crop insurance is an essential financial tool to preserve the production capacity of farmers and the development of rural economy. And like Mr. Mahapatra said, this is extremely critical, and we should not fail our farmers. Because it provides the farmers with financial freedom to build capacity and adopt newer agriculture practices. And more importantly, it also helps protect the farmers financially from calamities such as natural disasters, extreme weather, we spoke about how it happened in Maharashtra, or even loss in revenue due to significant price fluctuations. Also, by the use of crop insurance, as we have discussed, a farmer who struggles and works hard day in and day out will be assured that at least at the end of the day or the season, he or she will get a return on their hard work in the case of a crisis. So with the introduction of digital solutions in the field of crop insurance, it will become easier for our farmers to claim insurance, and hence their faith in being continue to be a part of the agriculture ecosystem. Because one of the other issues that we are obviously struggling is the rural communities moving to urban areas and they don't find agriculture lucrative enough. And then on the other side, when you look at the financial institutions, they have in the past had not had many tools to assess risk. Now, with the availability of several digital technologies and solutions, and with Croppen, of course, being on the forefront, a lot of real-time data sets have been made available to the financial institutions. And using this vast amount of real-time data, financial institutions and insurance institutions can assess the risk more efficiently, right? So technology is helping take care of both what the farmers want as well as what the organizations want. In the last couple of hours, we heard from our thought leaders. They had a very nuanced and intricate discussion on why and how should we digitize crop insurance at a fundamental level. How should we look at creating public-private partnership, access to land record, some conversation around the policy framework. Obviously, there are inefficiencies, and how do we remove it through digitalization and technology? Very importantly, stability and sustainability of all stakeholders, right? Farmers, tech players, the insurance players, all of them. Data-enabled risk assessment, which is ultimately most important, and access to all of these real-time data sets. Right? So all of these are going to be a critical part of India's vision for a very airtight crop insurance program. And of course, the intent is for us to make all of this so successful that we become a role model at a global level. So on that note, I would like to thank the attendees for attending the session. So all the participants, thank you so much for making it to this very insightful session. Also a big thank you to Mr. Rajesh Meena for taking the time and being part of this webinar as the guest of honor. Dr. Bhutani, of course, we missed having him. So we'll try and see how we can get him on the next session. Further thanks to the distinguished speakers and the entire panel who helped us make this session a reality, despite the extremely busy schedule you all have. And last but not the least, the core team who has helped us plan and manage such an insightful session. So I would really like to call out Abhijit from ThinkAg and Jyoti and Dhruv from the Croppen team for helping us get all of this together, coordinating with such an esteemed panel and bringing in 400 to 500 participants globally is no mean task. So Abhijit, Dhruv, Jyoti, you all should take a bow. So with that, once again, thank you for joining us. And definitely stay tuned to Croppen's social channels for future events. There's a lot that's coming up, and we look forward to meeting all of you in the future events. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. Thanks a lot.
Thank you, everybody. Thank you so
Thank you very
much.
much.